Hello, beautiful, gorgeous, powerful, everyday women of the world. That's my podcast intro. But that's fine. We're here for the Everyday Woman Summit, number three, where women gather. Because sisterhood is the survival guide to life. Children, spouses, jobs, even dreams will come and go, and friends too. But if we had to live a certain chapter without that one friend or support system, what would happen to us? Who would you be without some of the men and women, people in and around you during certain times? A friend of mine went through a house fire and she was surprised by the people who showed up to support her. They were not the ones that she thought would have been at her side, her ride or die. Well, I guess because Byrne's not in there, it was discounted. I don't know. But this is the beautiful and surprising thing. And in this summit series, I want to take some real appreciative and gratitude time to talk about the people who hold us while we hold our dreams and visions and take care of our many responsibilities and hats. Yeah, I'm getting the goosebumps too. I went off script, but I can do that because it's my summit and I'll do what I want. And I am interviewing Jackie because, get real with you guys. um, Sometimes when you bring groups together and you have a vision, things can happen, logistics and whatnot. So we roll with it. And I just want you to know, like, I'm not panicked. I'm not freaked out. This truly is a through and through nervous system friendly summit for everybody, no matter what happens as it goes down. So I'm really thrilled that I get to show up surprise, surprise appearance in another part of the summit with you guys and hold some space and have some beautiful conversation. A beautiful conversation we will have because Jackie Mott, you guys, first of all, fellow Canadian, woo woo, which is always, I don't know why, Jackie, it's so thrilling to me, but it's always so thrilling to me to meet another online entrepreneur and in person. You guys, Jackie has lived quite a life already and still at her ripe young age. And the Coles notes of it was that she got pregnant at 17 and then navigated a family um, a family for a while, for like quite a long time, and then that has since dissolved. And so her identity has evolved time and time again. And just picture going through from age 17 to present day, we'll call it 30-ish years. And
I love you.
well, you're full of vitality. So, like, what is age anyway, right? There's physiology, but then there's vitality. So, Jackie, we're going to go through a series of interview questions that are the same for all the panelists and just talk about the community that's held you at different stages, different parts. Now it's up to you to pull, how you're going to refer to over the time. But this is just to remind us of who's around us and who's there for us and how our different needs are met also over time, right? Because we change, so our people change around us too.
Absolutely.
So I'm super excited to hear about this from you, and I'm just thrilled and honored, of course, to have you join me for this and all the other crazy things that I like to do and drag people into.
Oh, yeah, we have way too much fun. It's just
Is there
it's
anything that you
hilarious.
want to say about yourself as an introduction to the audience before we get rolling into the interview questions?
Oh,
There's so much
well,
to say about you.
I there's so much to say. So I will say that I'm not a young duck anymore. I'm now in my 50s. And as we were talking about before, not only things in our relationships, because as I'm thinking about these people, and I've got some great stories about that, but as I think about these people that have either been really consistent, most of them have sort of come in and out of my life
Okay.
as life has, gone because you've just gone in different directions. So you
Yeah.
love each other, but you've just gone in different directions,
Yeah.
right? And just thinking about the evolution of me and also this thing that's happening, especially in the last few years, where like really getting clear on who I am and who fits well for me and who doesn't.
Right.
And also being okay for the people that feel that I don't fit well for them.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
Because it's also a thing where like we just get to a point where the way that we think or the way that we believe maybe doesn't fit well in that space anymore. And being okay with that, we can appreciate and like love the times and the experiences that we've shared with somebody and release them to have new and different experiences with love, right? Because that was always something like that's probably been one of my biggest learnings in the last few years is just this like I know we said forever and it's okay that forever didn't work out because I'm so glad that I had what I had with you. I'm so grateful for that and I wish you well and I wish you love,
Yeah.
you know, all of that stuff. So I
Right.
don't know why that was needing to be said, but it was needing to be
It
said.
was
So
needing to be said. Let's have
let's
it.
just,
Let's have it.
yeah.
It's beautiful. Awesome. So let's start with,
Yay.
pardon?
I said, yay.
Yay. Let's start with the circle around Jackie. And, present time, you choose. But when you think about your community, the friends,
Mhm.
family, coworkers, mentors, do you have different circles of people and
Yes.
what makes them so important to you? Like, how do they serve you in their different ways?
Yeah, I have. I sort of look at it like a three-ring circus.
Yeah, I love that. It's
It's
very
like,
on point for
well,
circles.
it's like there's the inner circle, which is always very small,
Yeah.
right? And then there's the next one, which is bigger, and obviously the one that is like hundreds, if not thousands of people is
Right.
the outer circle. And people sort of in my world, people have kind of in some cases kind of come in and out. I would say that most people have not completely left my realm.
Hmm.
There are people who have, but most of them have just sort of shifted positions over the year. But the inner realm is that's your, I can call you at 3 o'clock in the morning because something happened and I need someone just to hold space for me and you are there. And I know you are there. I can just show up in all of my ugly, gory mess and you love me anyway.
Yeah.
You see me, you know me, you understand me in a way that other people don't because there's that thing where someone in my inner circle I could say or do something accidentally,
Hmm.
right? Like I do sometimes say the wrong things.
Hmm.
It sounds really great in my head and then it pops out and it's not what it was meant to be,
Hmm.
right? Or it comes across in a way or it's received in a way. My inner circle are the ones who know me well enough to know that I would never intentionally do anything to hurt them.
Hmm.
And also, they would come to me and say, when you said that or did that, it upset me.
Right.
Right? There's that kind of
Safety.
a solid
Mm.
um, acceptance of each other.
Yeah.
And I could also do the same thing. So
Right.
I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to be afraid that you're going to walk away from me if I
Right.
tell you how I truly feel.
Right.
Right? Then there's the second circle. Second circle is like people that have been there, like they're not quite at that level, but they know you really well, or they've been around a really long time, or whatever that is. And they're the ones that you maybe don't go like, oh, look at all my gore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily do that, but they might be okay with it. And they probably like those are the ones that if I'm posting something really vulnerable on Facebook, for example, I might call them and say, hey, could you please see if you can find that post and give it a bit of love? Because, right? So I can be a little bit vulnerable, but it feels weird to be like really vulnerable, right?
Yep.
And I'm not going to call them for the really important
Yep.
stuff.
They have a different role to
Um,
play.
they have a different role. And then there's like the general public,
Hmm.
right? So the people that I've met, the people that I know, the people who have, business relationships, that kind of stuff. So
Right.
I wouldn't probably count on them for much of anything. And it's interesting how you say that, um, like the people that you can count on, or the people that are there for you, your friend with the fire and whatnot.
Hmm.
There are people that have shown up for me in times when I'm just like, I can totally relate to. There was one friend of mine. really, really close when I was a young mom. Really, really like tight, like best friends, like all the time. She'd
Mhm.
come and spend the night at my apartment, she'd
Yeah.
babysit my son sometimes, all of that kind of stuff. And then at a certain point, we sort of separated. When I was going through the divorce, there was something that I needed someone to witness, I guess, like provide testimony about something.
Mhm.
And I contacted her and she did,
Yeah.
right? And I just saw on Facebook yesterday that her mom passed away. So I reached out to her and said, I'm just sending you love and I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
So it's that thing where the love is still there,
Yeah.
right? The love is still there, even though we're not in the same realm. And
Day
if
to day.
either one of us needed each other, and I think that almost makes you family.
Mhm.
Like if you really needed me, I am here, man. I will be there in a flash,
Right.
even though we don't really see each other very often. So it's an interesting thing to look at how relationships have evolved and changed over time.
Yeah. Yeah, and a constant thread in some of them,
Hmm.
right? Like that's a beautiful resource to have when poop hits the fan
Hmm.
if they're a good fit for support in that time. Yeah. And a sense
Absolutely.
of comfort and safety for you to know that you've got places to go when you need something.
Well, and I think that this is one of the things that I will take real credit for is that I'm very proud of how I have learned to show up in most of my relationships. And I think that even the ones that maybe haven't lasted,
Hmm.
I can still reach out to 90% of them, if not more. I could still reach out to that person and say, hey, I need help with something that I know you do well,
Hmm.
or I need help with something because you were there,
Hmm.
or something like that. And there's no question in my mind that they would be like, yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
Love that.
I pick good people.
Pick good people and they pick good people too, which is a
Yeah.
great segue then, because the next question is around being supported. So, as
Mm,
women, and particularly like a very young mom,
mm,
great at supporting others, but not always great at letting others support us. So,
hmm.
Jackie, where have you learned to allow support and receive it? What difference has that made in your life? And can you imagine the last few years navigating divorce, redefining your identity, reestablishing your life at a slightly later time, like
Hmm.
tend to get more vulnerable as we age, etc. So, what would that look like? And where maybe were you surprised to receive support where you thought you were resisting it?
So I think that, like, I think that the honest answer to this is that I used to think there was some like superwoman thing, right?
Yeah,
Like you're not supposed to need help. You're
yeah.
supposed to be, and it's so crazy when I think about it now, and the way that I am, the way that I be these days is so different. It was like, oh, oh, this is ugly. To prove your value,
Yeah,
right? To prove your worth,
yeah.
to prove that you are worthy of someone's love
Hmm.
or their attention or like that. And that dynamic of earning love,
Hmm.
um I really had to address that because that was huge in the marriage, like, and in some of the other dynamics, like family dynamics that are not very healthy and things like that that I've experienced. There was this like, you have to show up like this or I won't love you.
Hmm.
You have to give me or I won't love you. You have to, like, even to the point of doing things that are not good for you. And I think this is where those of us who have experienced particularly trauma and abuse as children, this is one of those things because we don't have that like solid foundation of you are loved, you are safe, you are that. And I think sometimes for folks who have not had those experiences, it can be hard to understand why we have these twisted ideas of what love looks like.
Yeah.
But we do. And so especially as we age and start finding ourselves like bumping into those dynamics, because I recognize this. this codependent thing. Man, it was like, oh, I am not a
Mhm.
codependent person. Holy crap.
Mhm.
When I started to see it here, then it was like, oh my God, it's there and it's there and it's everywhere. And then it became very important to me to really pull this apart and do something about it because it's like, I don't want to be functioning in these ways that are unhealthy for me and unhealthy for the other people. I want to be functioning from a place of like honor and love and respect and all of that yummy, juicy.
Mhm.
So recognizing where I was doing that well and where I was doing that poorly and how I could shift. And it was not easy. It was not easy to start to shift that way because also I didn't have a lot of people that had shown up for me to
Mhm.
receive from them. That's the truth. In like it, especially in my early years, there were not a lot of folks who had me, right? You know, like I've got you. I've got you. You're okay. That wasn't really my experience a lot in my childhood. So learning to be open to learning that I didn't have to always be strong, learning that it was okay that somebody else had a skill set that I didn't have or a gift that I didn't have, and that they were willing and able to provide that to me.
Yeah.
There, I think there might have been some sort of like, okay, but what's it going to cost me?
Mhm.
Right. And again, that's all of that like conditioning from your life experiences and stuff. So it was really not easy. I feel like I'm better at it now than I used to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But I'm not entirely certain that I'm terribly good at it.
Ah.
Truly, I'm not.
Yeah.
I still have to have conversations with myself sometimes, and also, like, man, as a single woman, right?
Mhm.
And sort of going, okay, what do I really want? And it's been a while. It's been like a few years now. And what do I really want? Oh, well, I would like, and that's now on the list. I want someone who's going to show up and be reciprocal,
Right.
right? So they're going to bring to me as much as I'm going to bring to them. And I know I'm going to bring them everything I've gotten more. So n not only incorporating as I'm willing to, but
Yeah.
I'm requiring that there is a reciprocal nature in all of my relationships these days.
Okay.
So it's been a real journey. And again, I'm not entirely certain that I'm very good at it, but I'm working on it.
Well, we're all a work in progress, and just that awareness and that, what would we say, like self-auditing of what's going to feel right
Mm,
for
hmm.
you. Because I am like the puppy at the dog park, and I just want to please everybody and everybody be friends and let's play and ruff, ruff, ruff. But then I will over give of
Hmm.
myself, and that can get taken advantage of, lead to
Yeah,
resentment, or lead to what you're talking about, an imbalance in a relationship of any kind, where you're really giving, but does it check in with your core values and your integrity? Like, a pastor at a church will sit there and will give, and that's the purpose,
hmm,
right? But as a coworker or a friend, I only have so much to give, and I want to be um, respected and honored in a similar fashion, which is what I'm hearing you
absolutely.
say, right?
Absolutely. And
And
it's
personal
getting,
relationships. And then there's
yeah.
I'm going to keep going just for a sec.
Okay. Okay.
There's also times where we need to just receive without having to give back, and vice versa. Friend in the fire, she needed everybody to just pour into her
Yeah.
without giving anything back. And so there's these different times. But yeah, we hone that arena of our life and fine tune it. And as we change, that changes too.
Absolutely, it does. And I think like going through I think more maybe the loss of my sister. I'm going to say that that was more where I had to, like I had to, um, because I just couldn't
Yeah.
function anymore. I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet
Yeah.
going through that process, that healing process, and then follow that up with a few years later, the marriage ending suddenly. and, total blindside. And it was really interesting to me. And I have to be really careful what I say here because, sometimes it's not kind to say things as you want to say them necessarily. But um, the the people who jumped ship,
Right.
I'm going to say it like that. The people
Yeah.
who jumped ship because they didn't appreciate how things were handled. Um, that was very surprising. And many of those people are still part of my not day-to-day life necessarily, but like we see each other regularly and multiple times a year. And, so it was really surprising and interesting to me. I'd always had like a pretty good, solid social. And okay, here's an interesting twist. And it made me sad
Yeah.
because I knew that because they had jumped ship, that that person now was not having that support. And I had a pretty solid support network already,
Mm.
and he did not.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a part of my heart that hurt because he now had that relationship had not stuck with him. That support was no longer there for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you wanted it to be.
Well, I mean, I love that these people love me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing, I mean, that's the truth. And at the same time,
Want the
I
same.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough. When things like that happen, it's just tough.
Well, it rolls in really well to the next question
Oh.
of community as a mirror. Really did a good job with these questions. Community as a mirror. Chat helped a little bit, okay, guys, for honesty,
Okay.
but still,
Okay.
I'm always in control of the content that comes out of that. So community as a mirror. So here you experience this big chapter change and
Mhm.
people moving in different ways around you and other people that were close to you. And that community then reflecting back who we're becoming. So here, Jackie, you're just talking about kind of like reciprocal exchanges,
Mhm.
of equal
Mhm.
honor and respect. Guys, we're not talking about tit for tat. We're
Mm.
talking about integrity, moral characteristics, right? So in that, that's a good example to draw more out of how these people reflect who you're becoming. They're feeling very aligned with you. They're choosing to follow and stay close to you. What are they showing you about yourself? And are you surprised by who knows you best or the version that comes out, the version of you that comes out in your different communities, right? In your different circles? What are they showing you about yourself as you continue to grow and evolve?
Yeah, what a great question, right? That is just such a great question, and also has been really, really prevalent in my world the last few years.
Yeah.
Um, because I think that when the marriage ended, especially the way it happened and the way that things were handled afterward, and I'm not going to even go into it because it's not worth discussing, but the way that it happened, I I was so tied up in my identity of being his wife,
Mm.
that I called myself his Jackie.
Mm.
And I didn't understand at the time. It just seemed like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, this is my husband. We've been together 27 years. Of course, like of course I'm his Jackie, right?
Yeah.
But where I didn't understand was that I had lost sight of who Jackie was without
Yeah.
that. And um, so it was really like, wow, hard because it wasn't just okay, adjusting to the changes in my life and in my situation and my finances and my blah, 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 blah. It wasn't just the situational stuff. It was the who the hell am I now?
Hmm.
And what does that look like? And how do I show up? So it was really necessary for me to lean on my community and listen to my community because many of these people would just be like, I don't know, they would just share with me their experience of who I had been.
Right.
And it blew my doors off.
Right. Your blind
It
spots on your
blew
own
my
self.
doors off.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow,
Right.
wow, I show up like that. That's
Mm,
what it feels like to be in my presence.
mm,
Wow. And so amazing because I really love it.
yeah.
I really love that that's your experience of me. And I really love that, there were some things that happened in that time that um made me really have to get clear on who I am and what my intentions are.
Mhm.
And as I said a few minutes ago, I think I am never, or very rarely, I'm not going to say never because never is just, that's never a good idea. But um, very rarely will I go out of my way to cause another person any kind of harm.
Right.
It is simply not who I am. Now, mind you, if you're a fly or a bee in my house, then,
Yeah. Mosquito.
that's
Coming for
a,
you.
that's a whole different conversation. But um, like people, almost never will I go out of my way to cause another human being a person. And there was a lot of um, story and accusation, and it was made very public.
Mhm.
And that was where it got really tough, right? Um, but seeing my community show up and go,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Right.
It was absolutely like I can't even give it the words. I don't have the words, but the emotion, the emotion of that I mean enough in
Yeah.
your world for
Yeah.
you to show up and say, no, sir. Right. And it didn't have to be really dramatic or whatever. It was just, or I would post something and people would be like, this is why we love you. We're proud of you, or whatever that stuff is. Right. And then it helped because it reflected back at me how other people perceive me
Yeah.
or experience me. That helped me a lot in that getting clear on who I am and how I show up. And is that what I want? Is it how I want people to feel when they're in my presence?
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
recognizing that I was doing that well was very, very helpful.
Well, this is the thing, because like you see the forest for the trees, right? And we may think or have our perceptions, and then it gets tested. And it's really beautiful when people around you can show you more of who you are than you were able to see on your own.
Absolutely.
And that helps you rise into your power, into your identity, into your truth, and all those cliche sayings of like the coaching world, the internet. But what it actually means is that you just feel better about yourself and more clear about that you're showing up the way that you intend to, and that you're you're having very positive interactions, even if people who you thought were close to you might be telling you something different. So it helps dissipate the lies, is what I'm
Mm.
hearing there, which is really great. Our
Hmm.
own lies and or, other people's perceptions. So you just get to be a lot more anchored in to your
Hmm.
true identity. And then community is so good at that, because if they weren't there, where would you be now?
Right.
What version?
Right.
Who chewed up, spat out, forgotten? Like, this is
Yeah, and I
very
have a
empowering.
I have a friend who became a friend actually because at a networking group about 1 million years ago,
Mm,
um, she stood up and she was talking about she had gone in a different direction. I had never met her, had never seen her before in my life, but she was thanking somebody in the group and said, um, I don't know if they had said this to her or if she was reflecting this, but it was until I can believe in myself, I'm going to borrow your belief in me.
beautiful, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
and after I heard her say that, I had to. And
Hmm.
we have been good friends ever since, right?
Hmm.
That idea of like sometimes I'm scared.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't see myself as being able or capable or
Hmm.
smart or,
Hmm.
that enough, those enough statements,
Yeah.
right? I'm not smart enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm not big enough. I'm not whatever
Or I'm
enough.
too much.
Right, right.
right? And
And
too
I'm just
loud and
gonna
too, yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
So I'm going to you say I know you, Jackie. I see you, Jackie. I believe in you, Jackie. And I'm going to grab onto that and go, okay, if they believe, and I know they love me, if they believe that I can do this or they believe that I am this,
Hmm.
I'm going to borrow that for a little while and try it on and see how it fits because I can always put it down too,
Yeah.
right? I can always put it right back down if
If
it's
it's
not a
not
good
right.
fit, but if it feels good for me or if it
Yeah.
supports me and helps me to take the next step that I need to take,
Yeah.
grab hold.
That's a beautiful way to describe the power of community, even if your
Mm,
community is one other person, because they will help you see yourself in ways that you just can't, because
hmm.
we're holding our entire story and they're just holding love, and
Right.
ideally
Oh, I like it.
unconditional love for the
Yes.
mess and the grandeur, right? And then sitting in that is, yes, guys, it's validation. And I'm
Mm,
going to make validation a safe thing. We validate our children and we empower them. And it's okay to seek some validation, because it could be, Jackie, you're super amazing and I love your heart. Or it could be, Jackie, you're being a real jerk right now and you need to check it.
yes, it
Right?
could be.
Right, and it's just, it's more ingredients to fertilize the self, so that is this entire, vibe and message of this episode of the summit series, around how community really supports us and really
Hmm.
feeds into our becoming process, because we're not really intended to be monks sitting in the mountains, meditating our way to utopia. Like, we're meant to love each other and have fun and keep each other in check. So, with all of that beautiful um, elements happening around you, where are you showing up to give back in your community and create, similar experiences or support? And what does that look like in your day to day?
I think that for me, a lot of this is like in my relationships, and this is also one of the ways that it's so lovely to have people reflect back to you what their experience of you is because I am really missing community. I have not done a terribly great job of coming out of the pandemic. And I
Mm,
think a lot of us are in that same boat where we're still sort of trying to figure things out
mm,
or things that we used to have access to are no longer there. Like we used to have social events and things that stopped and have not restarted. And so I talk to people though, like I I just talk to lots of people.
mm.
And we have these conversations of, oh, hey, do you remember that thing that we used to go and do once a month or every other week or whatever? And they'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that too. And then we talk about things and the idea of hearing them say, like, when you would walk into the room. And I can remember that, right? Like one of my girlfriends were actually pretty tight, but she said to me when I heard you laugh, there was this group that we used to go to once a month, and I would walk in the door and there was this group of people, it was like hundreds of people, but you'd see the same people every month,
Mhm.
right? And so they'd be like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. How are you doing? Here's your
Mm,
hugs." Like da 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 da. And it was so they would come, right? They would come, or I would be hanging out by the entrance and I would go to them or whatever. And she was part of the crew for this thing.
okay.
And so there was something about her seeing me interacting with my people
Mm,
as I came in the door or they came in the door or however that worked. But also, they had one night this contest. It was just a silly little contest, but they wanted people with a laugh. And I don't know if you've really heard me when I'm in full-blown laughter, but it's pretty good. So I wasn't going to go up because I was just like, oh, yeah, like I'm a sponsor and I'm a this and I'm a that and
right.
whatever. So I'm good. I'm good. And people are like, get your
Hmm. Get
now,
your energy up
Jackie.
there.
And so I did. And so that was the thing that cemented our friendship because
Mm,
she heard me laughing
mm,
in that little thing. And um yeah, so I think this is so multi-level. I think the way that you show up in a room where people know you and where they don't know you,
mhm,
um, getting an idea of like I'm really proud of the fact that I feel like 99% of the time, what you see is what you get. There's not a whole
Mhm.
lot of different versions of Jackie.
Yeah.
There are Jackie, like different hats as far as roles go,
Yeah.
but showing up in that authenticity, showing up vulnerably, most of the stuff that I write or speak about anymore, a lot of it is very vulnerable. A lot of it is very open and honest and raw. And I think that that is sort of the gift that I want to give to the world is letting them know it's okay.
Mhm.
You know, you don't need to be perfect. You are not perfect, honey. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to
Yeah.
pull the rug out from under you, but you are not. You will never be, and you don't need to try to be. You need to be you, and that's what people in this world need from you. And everything that is you is beautiful and amazing and wonderful. And helping them to see themselves through those eyes,
Yeah.
helping people see themselves that way, you know. And there's this thing where I think many of us speak or teach, I don't know the right word, but we come at things from the place where we know the hurt. I know what it's like to feel like I am ugly and unwanted and unappreciated and judged and all of those and misunderstood, right? All of those feelings of like, I don't know what you're seeing, but that doesn't sound a thing like me,
Mhm.
right? That certainly doesn't sound like how I thought I was showing up. I don't know what's happening right now, right? Like becoming a mom at 17 when I came home at 16, and I, there was a lot of unpleasant language,
Yeah.
and that was my first boyfriend.
Mm.
I was not a person who had been, you know, out doing a lot of stuff. That
Mhm.
was my first boyfriend,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And I just didn't know what I was doing, and that's how things happened the way they
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Um, so that thing of being told that you are something ugly, oh man, I know that. I know how that feels. And so I think that when we show up in true love, it's that what's that thing like they come out of the fire carrying water for the people that are still in it or something like that, right? Whatever that saying is, I see it all the time on Facebook, but that thing of like, okay, I know how hard this is, and I'm going to therefore show up in a way that helps you if you're feeling that way to understand that how wrong that way of thinking is and how right you are and how beautiful you are and all of that kind of stuff. I think that's the gift is the showing up in the opposite way
So the
to
the
provide support and love.
reciprocity,
Mm,
is that it? Of what we seek from others is
hmm.
what we should too show up and be willing to give in order to really create that beautiful, safe community, right? So, as women, we hold and we have a hard time receiving, perhaps. And so, this is creating the way in ourselves so that it's a full cycle of giving and receiving in a loop that just goes around. And at times, as I mentioned earlier, a little more giving or a little more like receiving during a hard time is fine. And then it comes back out in other ways, and not always with the same individuals, which we've talked a lot about in this conversation. And so if you're looking for community and you're like, well, where's my community for me? Da, da, da. Well, how are you showing up and what are you bringing to the table too? Right. So again, this whole episode of the summit around stone soup and of contributing multiple ingredients derived from multiple people to create one bigger abundance than individually, and bringing good ingredients. Like if somebody's going to put carrots in, don't put in pebbles,
Mm,
ironically, because stone soup, but the stone was actually representative of a potato.
mm,
Okay. But to be putting good ingredients in together so that we do nourish and take care of each other in, like you were saying, Jackie, in that way that we want to receive it,
mm,
right? Not,
mm-hmm.
I don't like so much you give what you get, but it's making sure that you're being a person who is a good contributor to
Right.
community and a good recipient of community. Because with all those hugs and all that joyfulness around you when you entered that room, you also, a version of you could have been like, well, no, I don't know, please don't stop. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to be a fly on the wall, etc. I was a fly on the wall for a long time. I'm a shy person, hard to
Mm,
believe, right? But I've overcome that, or I embrace and lean into that and do it anyway, and it gets
mm-hmm.
easier over time. And this all culminates then to the beautiful kind of wrap up question, the gathering question at the end of why we need each other. And in the heart of it all, Jackie, you tell us, why do you believe community is so necessary for women, and especially the everyday woman who's working a job, who's pursuing the business, who's, dealing with the household
Yeah.
relationship, whatever other demands, aging parents, whatever other demands in our life. Why is it so necessary for us so that we can thrive?
I just don't think that we can do it alone.
Hmm.
I just don't think we can. And believe me, I've tried.
Hmm.
Believe me, I've tried. My life has so much more flavor, and so much more joy and so much more everything. Like just everything. Yes, it can hurt my heart. If I hear that a friend is hurting, it hurts my heart, right? But also, if I hear that a friend is like done something and they're proud of themselves or done something, whatever, even if they're not proud of themselves, and I get to cheer them on,
Hmm.
there's so much more to experience when we're together
Yeah.
than we can possibly experience when we're by ourselves. And I just believe that it's just better when there are other people around. And, even the monks, right?
Hmm.
Even the monks don't
Hmm.
live alone.
That's right.
They live in
Right.
community and they have their
That's right.
jobs and they support each other however they support each other,
That's right.
all of that kind of stuff. And I have to be conscious that my battery just kind of popped up and said it's
Okay.
it's dying. So I just want to give
Okay.
you that heads up if I drop. That's why. Um, but you were talking about the stone soup and the ingredients and stuff, and there was something so beautiful that I heard. I don't think I've shared this with you before. Um, they talked about it being a buffet, life being a buffet,
Hmm.
and each individual person has their own dish that they bring to the table.
Hmm.
There are people on the other side of the buffet that if you don't bring your dish to the table, they can't eat.
That's right.
So it is so important for us to show up
Hmm.
however we show up. And sometimes that's going to probably be ugly.
Yeah.
Hopefully, most of the time, it's pretty freaking beautiful. And show up as ourselves and show up in our God given talents, gifts, sharing love and light and hope and encouragement
Hmm.
and all of that stuff. I stopped at Costco one day. There was this lady that she usually, they check your receipt.
Yeah.
So I very often saw her checking my receipt and she has the most beautiful smile. And one day, I don't know why, I went through and then I stopped and I turned around because something inside me was just like, you
Hmm.
must tell her that you love her smile.
Hmm.
And so I turned around and I said to her, I just have to tell you this, right?
Yeah.
She stopped what she was doing and came over to me and she started to cry.
Mm.
And she said, "You have no idea the day that I have had." And I so appreciate you saying that to me because I needed it so badly. We don't know. So even that 2-second
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
of showing up as only you can show up, even if it's for a complete stranger,
Hmm.
you can change someone's day, their life. That story about like I was going to kill myself until I heard that, or I
Yeah.
saw that, or you did that, or you said that, or like whatever that story is. And I've heard it many different ways. And
Yeah.
we don't know what other people are carrying. We don't know. And you are gifted with whatever you are gifted with, use it.
Yeah.
Bring it to the table, bring it to the buffet, bring it to the world, bring it to us because We need you. We need you to show up as you are. I need you in my world.
Hmm.
Mia needs you in her world, just like
Hmm.
we need each other. Just show up.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, powerful, delightful. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for sharing your heart and being so vulnerable and real with us in this gorgeous conversation about the
Yes.
community that holds you together so that you can show up for
Mm,
an even broader community in
hmm.
return. Lovely. Do you want to
Thank
share
you.
any links to follow you
Oh, yeah, you can find
for
me
the
on
wrap up?
Facebook. I don't know. Everything's
Yeah,
changing. Everything's
everything's
shifting and
changing.
changing. And, my website is jackiemott.com. Of course,
Yeah,
I've got my book, Believe
yeah,
All Things Are Possible. I'm speaking all over the place. It seems like online and offline, and, we're talking about
fabulous.
all kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah.
and I guess that's one of the things that's interesting too, just before we close out, this idea of like, who are you becoming and who do you want to be?
Hmm.
Right? Like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, do I need to pick a lane? Because I really like to talk about this lovely, wonderful, yummy stuff. And I like to talk about grief and I like to talk about money and I like to talk about shame and I like to talk about. So there's lots of conversations that you can find me having all over the place.
Yeah.
And usually there's a lot of laughter that's going along with it.
Yeah. Wonderful. Great. Okay. Thank you so much. And we'll share links too. And you guys always remember that we are sitting in the audience with you in the Facebook group. We're very real people. We want to talk to you. If something nudged you, just send a message. We're real women, y'all. And we're
Yes.
we're like very touchable. There's no veils, there's no access pass, there's no any of that stuff. It's just real people virtually in person if possible here for each other in community.
Absolutely. And thank you, Mia, for everything that you were doing because my gosh, you were doing so much to build this. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.